fishing video. Well, hello and welcome to another video today in association with Carp magazines. I've come back down here to the syndicate water for one last session before I get down to some serious revision. Just here again for a quick night session and leaving in the morning again. Friday evening, just arrived down here, seen a couple of fish roll far bank. Probably should have gone over there really, but I thought I'd come back to the same spot. So what I've done, right hand rod out in the middle, and I've got that on a zig rig. It's constantly varying the depths every half an hour or so, just to find where the fish are. Left hand rod, cast around about to the rolling fish. Just a little PVA bag, no baits around just yet. Just a little PVA bag, and I'm hoping the fish might get on it. Fingers crossed. Just gonna go set up all the stuff in the bivvy now, and hopefully we'll get a screaming run at some point. Well, there we go, literally about 10 minutes, 20 minutes into the session. First fish of the day. Brilliant start, real chunk this. Lovely fish. Try and get her up for you. Oh, such a fat fish this. Really healthy though. Well, there we go, 24 pounds. What a chunk, what a real chunk. Fish didn't fight terribly hard, so it's fighting hard on the bank now. Real, like I said, real chunky fish. Really fat. Just tip the scales around 24 pounds. A lot of leeches on this fish. I think it's been sitting on the bottom for some time, but this is either full of spawn or real fat. Either way, lovely fish. Really happy with that. Good start to the session. My second biggest 20 out of here anyway. Brilliant stuff. Just look at the girth across that fish, it's ridiculous. Right, nice fish. Again, just taking on the liver and garlic bottom bait with the citrus fizz pop up on top. Little mugger hook, nice little rig that. Brilliant stuff. Let's put this fish back. Well, it's evening now, it's been quite a while since I had that fish. That fish came really at the start of the session. I was just walking around setting up my bivvy, and in this high wind it wasn't a very easy job. So I was walking around setting up the bivvy and the rod went off. So that's why I didn't really have a chance to get the camera out and start filming the fight after I am here on my own. So unless a passerby walks past, it's very often, you know, I have to make do with what I can, and at that time the camera was all packed away, so I couldn't really film the fight. But quite interestingly, just before that happened, and this is all in a very short period of time, it's in about 20 minutes of me arriving, the rod sort of had a very similar run. None of the runs I've had here at the moment, except from a few weeks ago, have been proper screamers. So the bobbin's just lifted up, because I'm casting right on the other side and I'm fishing slat lines. So what's happening is I think the fish are picking up the bait and then coming towards me. They're still running off, but they're coming towards me. So what's happening, that slack line that's trailed along the lake bed just peels round. So it stays on the bottom but just peels around like that. So my bottom's still lifting up, but the fish are coming towards me. Still that slack line is still laying on the lake bed. It's almost acting like a pulley system, if you know what I mean. I think that's why my bobbin's still going up and I'm still getting a run. So, but as I said, the runs aren't really screaming off. But anyway, I was setting up the bivvy, and about 5 minutes, 10 minutes before I had that fish, I had another run on the rod. Bobbin lifted right up, and I hit it, and I thought, yeah, I got a fish, because I felt some heavy weight on it. And then I saw, you know, the splash as you normally do with the fish, and it was right by my feet, you know, about 10 metres out. I thought, that's not right, and the fish has picked up the rig and come charging towards me. But I knew, I could feel it, the rig was still way out, you know, way out on the other side of the lake. And what happened is, a fish had come along, picked up the line, with its tail or dorsal or something, close in, and then must have got tangled in it or something, and come up to the top when I hit the rod, because obviously that would have pulled the bobbin up and given me a run. As I pulled the rod up, you know, the fish came up to the top, splashed a bit and went off. So I was pulling the rig, put another PVA bag on, you know, a little bit of the Gardener PVA foam, chuck that out, and then literally about 5-10 minutes later it was off again, still while I was setting up the bivvy. Similar run, just bob and lifted up, and when I picked up the rod, I just felt a little bit of resistance, wound down to it and hit it, and there we go, lovely fish. I've been wanting a 24 out of it for a very, very long time. Don't know why 24, but when I first started targeting a 20 on here, 24 was stuck in my mind as a fish I'd like to get. I've been wanting one for a long time. I've had 20s, 21s, 22s, 27s, but never 24. So I got that and I'm very happy to have had it. But what's quite interesting is a lot of the fishing here, due to poor fish safety and poor fish care from other members on here, a lot of them have had really, you know, messed up mouths, and that was never like that when I started fishing it about a year or 2 years ago, because in all honesty, along with 2 other people, I think I was the only one on here. There's been fished a lot more heavily now, a lot more bait going in, things like that, so the fish have been getting caught a lot more, so the mouths have been deteriorating a little bit. But that fish's mouth was absolutely perfect, real big mouth on it, you know, like one for carp, and absolutely, you know, still had its curtain intact, everything. I'm sure it's been caught before, but still had its curtain intact, and I just nailed it right in the bottom lip. The mugger did its job, absolutely fantastic. So really happy about that, you know. So I started off the session really well. I just hope I can follow it on really, you know. It's coming into evening now, it's well into evening now, it's nearly night, and dance coming in. Let's just hope we can get a fish, eh? Going to be here to about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Probably going to try and get the zig rig rod out again tomorrow morning, so I'm sure there's going to be a few fish in the upper layers other than on the bottom. But again, right hand rod, far out, sort of probably about 20 metres, 10 to 20 metres off the far bank. Just as the shelf starts going down, there's quite an odd shelf out there. It stays at about 1-2 foot for quite a way out there, so you need to be quite a way back from the bank when you're casting towards the other side here. But on the left hand rod, I've got that in the margin again, just down to the left. Again, they're both on the liver and garlic, except from the right hand rod I'm keeping that on the liver and garlic to just fizz pop up. But the left hand rod I'm just going to put a little chopped down liver and garlic boilie, a tiny bit of fake corn, just to sort of neutrally balance it and give it that little bit of sort of, and give that little bit of extra attraction. I'm a big believer in tipping my baits, and if it can be a little bit of fake corn, you know, a bit of foam or a boilie like I'm using on the right hand rod, that's what I'll do. Although when I'm fishing a lot more pressured water and the fish being caught a lot, I'll then tend to sort of get rid of tipping my baits and just keep it as a plain bait, because I think the fish can spook off it when they've been really pressured. But in here they seem to quite like it. So yeah, that's the plan. Let's just see if we can get a fish. Right, let's just take you to the rig I'm using. Now, since both rigs are in the water at the moment, I've had to do a little demonstration rig I've just made up. But here it is, just bear in mind it's not quite like the rigs that I've got in the water. I've got a very short link of the Gardner Trickster Heavy hook link, that's a braided hook link, and the idea of this is it's quite a heavy but yet really supple braid. So rather than having to pin your line down with putty and things like that, you know, as we used to, it just sinks down and perfectly presents your rig every time. And I must admit, it's been looking really good on the bottom. I've got this in the camo brown variety, and that's blending in really nicely with this lake bed. So there you go, that's the hook link itself. Hook wise, I'm just using one of the good old size 10 Gardner Mugger hooks. Amazing hook pattern that, just that combination of that curved shank and straight point is just lip. Before, when I was using long shanks with this sort of rig I'm using today, the hook was almost falling out every time I got them in the net. But now it's a properly hook them, usually either in the corner or in the bottom of the mouth, and that's exactly where you want it, properly doing these fish. And finally, bait wise, I've just got a chopped down liver and garlic bottom bait, followed by again a chopped down citrus fizz pop up, just sat on top of it there. Just done that to look more like one single bottom bait rather than a disjointed snowman. Still the snowman principle though. And again, just between that and the hook, I've just got that probably about 1/2 inch to 1 inch hair. I like quite long hairs. Some people that's a short hair, but to me it's quite long hair. I prefer the long hairs, so I just think it nails the fish better. Personal preference end of the day, but I think that works for me. There we go, that's my rig. Simple but deadly. Well, good morning. Woken up by a screaming run about 6 in the morning. Now I've got what feels like just a big heavy weight on, just plodding around in the margins. You have to excuse me for my morning hair. Woke up in a bit of a rush running out the bivvy. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning now, and what a way to wake up. No rush to come in this fish. Absolutely no rush at all. Just doing exactly what he wants to do. And I'm not going to bully it. What's the point? This is what fishing's about. You might as well enjoy it. Well, there he goes. Shouldn't really wind while the clutch is going like that. Should know better. This fish didn't really know it was hooked when I first hit it. It just sort of plodded in. Now it's woken up a little bit. Now I've got it in the margins. Well, I say margins, still in about 20 foot of water. That's what it's like here. Like, you know, if I'm fishing in 12 foot of water here, I think I'm fishing on the shallow spot. Fish is really going, you know, I'm doing all I can. Oh, that's a nice tail pattern. Yes. Well, there we go. Sun's just coming up and I was just woken up by a screaming run. Not sure you're going to believe this, but I know I don't. First fish of the morning. See if I can lift her up for you. 31 pounds. Come on, second 30 ever. And my second 30 in 2 weeks. I just had my first 30. 31 pounds. Can't hold it up that easily. But if I can just, there we go. Yeah, 31 pounds. Absolutely lovely fish. Put up one hell of a fight. So pleased to have caught her. A little bit of a messed up mouth. What a lovely, lovely fish. Haha, 230. That's brilliant. What a beaut. Such a hard fighting brute as well. Right, one last look I think. Then it's time to put this baby back. Brilliant stuff. See if I can show you the curve on that fish just there. Right, let's put her back. Right, just time to put her back now. This might take a little while to go back because she thinks she put her all into the fight. So what I'll do, I'll just lay the mat in so her head's in the water at the moment. Get a little bit of water over her, clean up a little bit. The water's actually warmer than the air temperature. Feels like I'm putting my hands into a bath. Yeah, Gil's working now, yeah. She's alright. We'll try and get the fish back as quick as possible. You never want to harm the fish, do you? Never want to harm the fish. Right, then what I'll do, tip her up the right way. Just hold on the edge of the mat, like that. Let's get my arm around her. Pull the mat to one side. Tip her around the right way. Shoulder. Oh, and she'd hold her till she wants to go. Look at that in the margins. What a beast of a fish. Not my PB, but bloody close to it. So happy to have caught that fish. Right, I'll let her go in a minute. She's kicking, but I want it to be a powerful kick on her to really want to go. She goes. Fantastic. Yes! Well, if that's not worthy of a cup of tea, I don't know what is. Well, morning. It's now about half an hour since I had that fish, and what a lovely fish. 31.5 pounds and just under my PB. My second ever 30, and only a few weeks after I had my first 30. It's ridiculous. Now, don't be misled to believe though that there's a lot of 30s in here. There really isn't. I mean, I think there's known to be about 3 30s in here, which I suppose for the size of the water is quite a lot. But 3 30s in there, and I've had 2 of them, so it can't be that bad really, can it? And some people fish here, you know, for the whole 2 years or whatever and still don't have a 30. So it's, in my mind, it's luck of the draw really, whether you get the big fish or not. There's a few fish in here, and it's just luck of the draw whether it's that big fish or not that picks up your bait. There is some skill in it, you know, the rigs and things, because the big fish tend to be wary of obvious rigs. It tends to be, if you have a good rig, you stand a better chance of getting the bigger fish. So yeah, really happy with that, and just got the kettle on again now to have a celebratory cup of coffee. Right, let's put the rod back out, see if we can get another fish before we go home. Well, unfortunately it's now come to the end of the session. It's gone about 11:30 and it's time to bring the rods in. Had a brilliant session and probably one of my best down there. 31 pounder and a 24. Can't get much better than that really, can it? It was a lovely morning this morning when I played in that 30, and it's a real nice thing to do, you know. Really happy with it. But as I said, I've got to go home now. It's going to be my last session ready before some serious revision. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time in tight lines.